Good day, everyone. In this lecture video, I will be starting to discuss Unit 4, which is on quantitative genetics of our subject, animal breeding. And under Unit 4, we have three topics. First is principles of genetics, and then we will proceed to the discussion and computation of statistical measures and genetic parameters. And then finally is the interpretation of these genetic parameters that we have computed. So basically, we will be guided by the following desired learning outcomes. So first is you should be able to explain the principles of quantitative genetics and their relevance to economically important traits in livestock and poultry. And second is you should be able to compute statistical measures such as means, variances, covariances, and at the same time, you should be able to compute genetic parameters such as heritability, repeatability, and genetic correlations using appropriate formulas and datasets. And then finally, you should be able to interpret this because it is useless to be able to compute these statistical measures and genetic parameters if you do not know what they mean. So the ultimate goal of our discussion is for you to be able to interpret what these computed parameters mean and use these parameters to assess the potential for genetic improvement and evaluate the reliability of selection decisions in breeding populations. Because hindi lang tayo nag-compute ng mean, hindi lang tayo nag-compute ng variance, standard deviation, heritability, etc para masabing na-compute natin sila. We will be using those values in deciding which of the animals in a certain population will be used to become breeders and how will we choose traits simultaneously when improving populations over time. So first, let's start with the discussion on the principles of quantitative genetics. So let us first define quantitative genetics. When we talk of quantitative genetics, branch siya ng genetics. So what we have already covered in animal breeding is first is Mendelian genetics or the classical genetics, and then we move to population genetics. Yun na yung natapos natin sa Unit 3. And now we are proceeding to quantitative genetics. So ito ay branch ng genetics na ang focus ay traits influenced by many genes and the environment. So, yung mga traits na kinoconsider natin sa population genetics ay more on qualitative traits. Kaya ang mga examples natin last time ay coat color, coldness or presence or absence of horn, ear orientation, shank color, comb type, etc. But this time, we'll be focusing on quantitative traits. And pag sinabi natin ang trait ay quantitative, sila ay governed by polygenes. Governed by polygenes from the term poly meaning many, maraming genes ang nagko-contribute sa kanilang expression. Ibig sabihin, maraming genes ang nagko-control sa kanilang expression. So since maraming genes or polygenes, mas mahirap siyang i-improve over time. Kasi marami kang kinokontrol, marami kang kinoconsider na genes. And since they are controlled by polygenes or many genes, they can also be termed as polygenic traits. Another characteristic of quantitative traits. Ang quantitative traits ay measured on a continuous scale. Pag sinabi mong continuous scale, marami siyang intermediate values between two extremes. Example, weight, body weight. So ang ang common example ng quantitative trait ay weight. So sabihin natin, birth weight. Ang birth weight ay hindi lang siya 1.5, 2, or 1.8, or 1. Pero in between those values, halimbawa, in between 1.5 and 2 kilograms, meron pa siyang 1.52, 1.55, 1.63, 1.81, and so on. So maraming intermediate values, maraming gradations, kumbaga. Kaya siya natawag na continuous scale. Yun. So halimbawa din sa milk yield, for example, ang cattle nagpo-produce ng 10 liters of milk. Or sabihin natin, ang another cattle ay nagpo-produce ng 5 liters of milk. or a population. For example, ang average performance ng population in terms of milk yield ay 10 liters. Meron pang other values or ibang hayop na nagpo-produce ng 5.5 liters, 6.1 liters, 8.2 liters, and so on. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng continuous ang scale or continuous ang variation. So dahil sa karakteristik na yon ng quantitative traits, mahirap siyang i-improve kasi continuous scale siya. And ang kinakailangan natin para ma-improve yun ay statistics. We need to compute statistical measures or parameters to analyze or evaluate them. Kaya, sa mga susunod na slides, we will be heavily computing ng ranges, averages, variances. Hindi siya tulad ng, for example, balikan natin sa population genetics. Pag pinag-cross ko ang black-colored cattle at saka white coat-colored cattle, tapos ang dominant ay black, alam natin, we can easily predict ano yung proportion or yung ratio ng phenotype na mapoproduce sa offspring. But in this case, we cannot say, 25% ay white and then 75% ay, or 25% 1 kilogram ang birth weight and then the 75% 1.8 kilograms ang birth weight. Hindi siya ganon. So, yun ang, kumbaga, overview or pinaka-introduction ng quantitative genetics. So, quantitative genetics, most scientists or most students say that it is one of the hardest branches of genetics because we are considering a lot of values before we can decide. Pero it is also the most important kasi ang pinag-uusapan natin ay quantitative traits. And ang quantitative traits, sila yung economically important traits. Bakit sila economically important traits? Because when you improve those traits, may corresponding profit. Okay? So its importance, productivity, efficiency, and sustainability. We can determine the productivity of the farm if we are able to analyze the parameters, the statistical measures in the farm. And if we are able to analyze and use the values that we computed, we can become efficient in the farm and in the long run, magiging sustainable. Kung alam nating gamitin yung mga values, kung alam nating paglaruan yung mga values na nire-record natin sa farm and kino-compute natin doon sa farm. But of course, ang requirement for us to analyze yung mga values na na-compute ay kailangan ng records. Very important ang record kasi wala kang i-compute kung wala kang record. So we should always go back to record keeping and of course, very important din yung proper identification of animals. Okay, so before we proceed to the computation proper, let's have a comparison between quantitative traits and qualitative traits so that we can really see the difference. So by definition, quantitative traits, as I have said, these are traits controlled by many genes. That's why they are called polygenic traits. And they are greatly influenced by the environment. Isa din po sa nagpapahirap kung bakit siya mahirap kontrolin. Aside from being controlled by many genes, it is greatly influenced by the environment. Ibig sabihin ng greatly influenced by the environment, konting variation lang, konting deviation lang doon sa environmental factors such as management mo, nutrition, housing, medication, etc., nagbabago na yung phenotype or performance ng hayop. Sa qualitative traits naman, they are controlled by a few major genes or sometimes one gene only with little or no environmental influence. So, konti lang ang effect ng environment. So, ibig sabihin, yung differences ngayon doon sa offspring ay dahil mostly sa genes, not due to environment. Number two, based naman sa type of variation, ito na-mention ko na earlier, they show continuous variation because of gradations, because of many values between two extremes. And so, individuals differ by small measurable degrees. Small measurable degrees because halimbawa dalawang hayop tapos or halimbawa in a population you have many animals. Yung isang hayop 1.5 kilograms, yung isang hayop 1.4, yung isang hayop 1 kilogram, etc. So, small measurable degrees versus sa qualitative traits, they show discrete or distinct variation. Meaning to say, you can say, itong hayop na to ay horned, itong hayop na to ay polled. And then another one, red coat colored, black coat colored. Another one, single comb type, pea comb type, rose comb type, etc. So distinct, makikita mo na may discrete variation among the individuals in the population. Next, number 3, according to measurement naman, of course, from the term quantitative traits, we measure them quantitatively or by numbers or by numerical values. Yun namang qualitative traits, they are described qualitatively or by category or by class and not by numbers. Example, body weight. Body weight, halimbawa, 50 kilograms, 55 kilograms, 49 kilograms. So number siya. So ang phenotype for quantitative traits ay numbers. With of course appropriate units, kilograms kung kilograms, grams kung grams, meters kung yan ay height, etc. Or body length, chest circumference, ganyan. Sa qualitative traits naman, they are described qualitatively. Ibig sabihin, we use adjectives, no? Yung word na adjectives para i-describe yung phenotype niya. Or yun yung phenotype na mismo niya. Example, presence or absence of horn. So you can say that an animal is polled kung wala siyang sungay, no? Horned naman kung meron siyang sungay. So, qualitative ang description natin sa kanila. Qualitative ang phenotype na binibigay natin sa kanila. So another, according to type of distribution, quantitative traits follow a normal distribution or pina-follow niya yung bell curve natin or yung normal curve. Kasi doon sa normal curve, ipa-plot natin yung kanilang mga points. And then sa qualitative traits naman, they show distinct classes or categories. So naulit lang siya. And sa quantitative traits, dahil numbers nga ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, we require or we use statistical analysis such as the computation of mean, variance, heritability, correlation, at saka mga regression. For qualitative traits naman, kung maalala nyo sa previous topics natin, previous units, qualitative traits can be analyzed using simple ratios or Mendelian segregation patterns. Like for example, 3 black is to 1 white, or 3 polled is to 1 horned, or 1 erect is to 1 drooping, etc., etc. And then lastly, in terms of heritability level, usually ang mga quantitative traits natin ay low to moderately high yung kanilang heritability values. Bakit low to moderately high? Kasi nga malaki ang hatak ng environment. No? Malaki ang hatak ng environment doon sa expression ng performance or ng phenotype ng hayop for that particular trait. And in contrast, yung ating mga qualitative traits, they usually have high heritability values kasi nga mababa ang effect ng environment. So, yun ang concept. No? I'm giving you a brief overview of heritability. Kapag mataas ang heritability value ng isang trait, ibig sabihin, mas malaki ang hatak ng genetics. Kung namang mababa ang heritability value ng trait, mas malaki ang hatak ng environment and mababa ang hatak ng genetics or ang contribution ng genetics. So I hope you have grasped the differences between quantitative traits and qualitative traits. Now, let's have a few examples of these traits. So for qualitative traits, ito yung na-encounter nyo commonly: coat color, coldness, feather color, comb type, ear orientation. And for quantitative traits, these are measured in numbers. You have body weight, birth weight, weaning weight, etc. Slaughter weight, and then milk production, milk yield, egg production. So, include ko na rin dito yung egg weight, litter size, and then carcass quality. Notice na carcass quality, although may quality doon sa kanyang pangalan, hindi siya considered na qualitative trait because itong carcass quality ay meron pa siyang iba't ibang subdivision. So carcass quality ay yun yung marbling natin, tenderness, back fat thickness, and yung mga traits na yon, carcass quality traits, are measured quantitatively. Measured siya in numbers and continuous yung kanyang variation. That's why classified siya as quantitative trait. So I hope you understood yung principles ng quantitative genetics, and it's now time to move to topic B, which is on statistical measures and genetic parameters. So first so meron tayong computation on basic population values. Ang measures ng population values, ito yung mean, variance, standard deviation, covariance, at saka correlation. Yun muna yung cover natin. So may dalawang part kasi itong statistical measures. So statistical measures muna tayo, and then another video will focus on genetic parameters para hindi masyadong overwhelming ang content nitong lecture video. So first, basic muna tayo, mean. Mean answers the question, where is the center of the population? So basically, ang mean, siya yung average. So alam naman natin siya, average or typical performance of the population for a given trait. And dito yung formula na ginagamit natin. Yung mean usually ay represented by the Greek letter mu for population mean. And for sample mean, we use X bar. Okay. X bar, and is computed as the sum of all observations divided by the number of observations. Or halimbawa, sum of all, halimbawa ang kinocompute natin ay mean or average weight ng baboy. So, sum of all the weights of pigs divided by the number of baboy that we observed or that we measured. So, ano yung importance ng pag-compute ng mean? This serves as a reference point for comparing populations, evaluating genetic progress, and identifying animals for selection. So, reference point siya for comparing populations because, for example, population 1. Population 1, ang mean niya ay 10 kilograms. And then population 2 or farm 2, ang mean niya ay 12 kilograms. So you can now see the difference na farm B or farm 2 has better animals in terms of weight or winning weight. Kasi 12 kilograms ang average, and then the other one is 10 kilograms. Yun. So reference point for comparing populations, or instead of farm 1 and farm 2, we can also say generation 0 and generation 1. Generation 0 referring to your parent generation, and generation 1 that's your offspring generation. For example, yung parent generation ay 10 kilograms ang average winning weight, and then yung generation 2 or generation 1 ay 12 kilograms. We see that there is an improvement, right? So from parent generation na 10 kilograms, and then nung nag-reproduce sila, na na-weigh yung kanilang mga offspring during weaning, record nila na average na winning weight is 12 kilograms, then there is improvement because there is a positive change, because 12 minus 10 is positive 2. So there is an improvement. So it's a reference point for comparing populations. So it's also evaluating genetic progress kasi yung kinumpare natin ay generation 0 at saka generation 1. There's genetic progress or there's genetic improvement because there's a positive change. And then we also use the mean for identifying animals for selection. Bakit natin siya ginagamit? Kasi, for example, the average winning weight sa farm ay 10 kilograms. We can now identify animals better than the average. So when we are selecting breeder animals, we should select better than that, yung mga may winning weight better than the 10 kilograms, better than the average. So ganun yung purpose kung bakit tayo nag-compute ng mean. Hindi lang para may ma-compute, hindi lang para may ma-solve, or hindi lang para may ma-encircle na final answer, but rather, ito yung purpose. So another example, halimbawa we have 5 baboy, each weighing. So halimbawa ito yung kanilang slaughter weight, no? Pig 1, 98, pig 2, 100 kilograms, pig 3, 101, pig 4, 99, pig 5, 102. So if you compute the mean, you can just type in your calculator, we add all the values divided by the number of pigs, which is 5, ang kanyang average or ang kanyang mean ay 100 kilograms. No? So ano ibig sabihin ng 100 kilograms na yan? Simply, the mean body weight of the pigs in the farm, in the farm is 100 kilograms. Or the average performance of the pig population is 100 kilograms. So I hope clear yung mean, no? Next, we move to variance. Ang sinasagutan naman na tanong ng variance ay, what is the overall amount of variation in the population? So what is the overall amount of differences naman in the population? So it measures how spread out or dispersed the data are. So in terms of formula, ito yung formula niya. S squared equals the sum of all deviations from the mean divided by n minus 1. So we usually do not compute variance by hand, but usually we use it. Kasi sa animal breeding, marami tayong data na pinakonsider. We consider a large data set, hence we use my software such as simple as Excel. So pero kung lima lang naman ang kinocompute natin or kinoconsider natin na hayop, then we can just use our calculator. So what we want to see here is kung mababa or mataas ba ang variance. Kapag mataas ang variance, we see high amount of differences or wide differences among animals. Yung opposite, low variance, animals are more uniform. Visually, it looks like this. So, halimbawa, this is farm A, and yung nasa baba ay farm B. And then, suppose we are given certain set of values, and then we computed the variance. Pag sinabi mong low variance, ganito ang kanyang itsura. Pag plinap mo yung mga values, like for example, yung weight ng hayop, so ipa-plot mo ngayon siya dito, and then you create a curve, it shows this. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga nasa loob na values nito or yung values covered by this distribution shows low variance kasi magkakalapit lang sila. No? Saan yung range? So, the range is from here and then to here. Then, dito lang. So, ano tong gitna na to? Ito yung mean. Halimbawa, yung mean natin kanina ay 10 kilograms. Tama? So, kung 10 kilograms ang mean, konti lang yung distance ng bawat isa. Konti lang yung ka-spread or ka-disperse ng bawat values with the mean or with one another. Yan. Pero kung mataas naman ang variance, malawak ang range, tama? Kasi halimbawa, let's assume ito ay 5. Let's assume this is 15. So 5 to 15 kilograms ang weight ng mga baboy sa farm A. And then sa farm B, ang layo. Ito yung pinakamababang value. Ito yung lowest value and then this is the highest value. So they are very variable. Very variable, ano tawag dito? Very variable because marami ka pang ibang makikitang values dito. Malayo pa ang line or ang points from the mean. No? That's how spread out the values are or that's how dispersed the data are dito sa high variance. So ano ang implication niyan? Kapag low variance, mas more uniform, ibig sabihin magkakalapit lang yung performance ng mga hayop natin or yung weight ng hayop natin. Pag high variance naman, we see of types, we see differences. May maraming mga masyadong mabibigat, maraming and meron ding mga masyadong magaan. Yun ang high variance. And we do not want that. Ang implication niyan sa ang implication niyan is halimbawa magbebenta ka ng hayop, no, for slaughter. Kapag ibebenta mo yung mga hayop for slaughter ay uniform sila. Ibig sabihin, ang perception or ang interpretation para sa bibili ay maganda yung management nito kasi uniform yung performance ng mga hayop. Versus kung highly variable yung mga hayop mo, ibig sabihin, maaring may mga maliliit at birth talaga or mas dominant yung mga iba kaya walang masyadong nakain yung other animals, ganyan. So, mas maganda sa producers, mas maganda sa nagbebenta or mas maganda sa bumibili ng hayop yung low variance because they are more uniform. But for animal breeders, for us to select, ang kailangan ay variation. So, depende kung anong purpose mo. Kung ikaw ba ay nagbebenta ng panggabay, nagbebenta ng biik na alagaan, of course, you have to have low variance. Pero higher variance ang gusto natin if we want to select parents. Kung if we want to sell for commercial production, we should have low variance. Example, so meron tayong Farm A and Farm B. Let's compare the difference in terms of variance. No? Gamitin natin yung example natin kanina na values. So weight, 98, 100, etc. Ang na-compute natin na mean ay 100 kilograms. Let's use another farm. Kung i-compute mo, yung mean nito ay still 100. If you add 70, 85, 100, and so on and so forth, divided by 5, you get 100 kilograms. So pareho lang, tama. Pareho lang yung performance, average performance ng Farm A at saka Farm B. But look at how different the animals are from one another. Ang pinakamagaan, 70. Tapos may pinakamaganda kasi may pinakamabigat ka na 130 kilograms, right? Kung selection, ang tool natin dito, if you want to select breeder animals, we would be choosing automatically Pig 5, right? But in Farm A, we cannot directly select Pig 5 because there could be no significant difference between Pig 3 and Pig 5. Even if numerically, they differ by 1 kilogram. Tama? So dito sa Farm B, makikita mo agad na pinakamagbigat si Pig 5. Pero overall, if you are to look at the entire population, the pigs are very different from one another. And so, the farm has high variance. No? So, may implication na agad doon sa farmer. So, dito, maaaring uniform ang pag-aalaga dito in terms of environmental or management practices and also in terms of genetics dito. Maaaring the differences could be in terms of genetics or in terms of environment or in terms of both. Yan. So, I hope na grasp niyo ang importance ng variance. So, low and high variance are useful, depende sa kung ano ang objective mo. Next, we proceed to standard deviation. Ang standard deviation naman ay square root lang siya ng variance. Sorry, dito ko nalagay ang formula. This formula should be in the previous slide. This is variance, no? Yung variance natin can be written as S squared or sigma squared. Sigma squared, Greek letter ang nagamit dito. So ang standard deviation naman answers the question, how far are animals from the center? Ibig sabihin, gaano kalayo yung mga hayop from the mean? And this also shows variability or expresses variability. Yan. Pero ngayon at this point, mas mabilis na siyang i-interpret than variance. Kasi sinasabi mo lang sa variance is low variance, high variance. Pero dito, you can now provide a number. You can now tell the magnitude, how far that animal is from the mean. That animal 1, animal 2, animal 3, etc. So it's easier to interpret than variance kasi ang standard deviation ay hindi na siya naka-squared. Ang unit kasi ng variance is kilogram, halimbawa dito, kilogram squared. Yan. Kasi may square siya sa taas. Pero dito sa standard deviation, ini-square root natin. So nawawala na ngayon ang square. So dito, most animals fall within plus or minus or positive or negative, plus minus 1 standard deviation from the mean. So ano ibig sabihin nitong, so ito yung sinasabi ko na normal curve, no? Normal distribution. So ito yung mean population or mean performance, average performance ng population. And then, how do we read this? So this one is so plus 1 standard deviation from the mean. Negative 1 standard deviation from the mean. Negative 2 standard deviation from the mean. Ibig sabihin nitong positive 1 ay kung i-interpret mo siya, 34.1% of the population ay plus 1 standard deviation from the mean, or 34.1% of the population are above the mean. O ha, above the mean kasi right. Ito naman, negative 34.1% of the population are also lower than the mean kasi negative. Ganyan siya. So majority, yan ang ibig sabihin, most animals, majority of the population are plus minus 1. So bakit majority? Kasi kung i-add mo to, 34.1 plus 34.1, that's already 68.2. So majority of the animals in the population are plus minus 1 standard deviation. So kukunti lang yung mga hayop na negative 2 or plus minus 2 or plus minus 3 standard deviation from the mean. Yun ang ibig sabihin. Para mas ma-visualize nyo pa better, let's use an example. Gamitin natin yung same scenario kanina. So na-compute na natin yung kanilang mean, and then kanina, sinabi lang natin kung high or low variance. Kasi just by looking at the values earlier, we can say that this has low variance. Low variance kasi halos magkakalapit lang yung mga values. Dito naman, high variance sabi natin kanina kasi masyadong magkakalayo yung mga values. Pero when we compute them numerically, ang variance ngayon ng farm A ay 2.5 kilograms squared, which is really very low. Ang farm B naman, very high, 562.5 kilogram squared. No? So if you compare the two, kahit konti, kahit even if they have the same mean, makikita mo talaga na they are variable. No? Magkaiba ang dalawang farms na to. So hindi siya magandang, yung mean ay hindi magandang gamitin to compare talaga yung dalawang population, especially when you're looking at the differences or variation ng population, how they are managed, or ano yung effect ng genetics at saka environment. And then sa pag-compute naman ng standard deviation, so i-square root lang natin ng 2.5 and i-square root lang din natin ng 562.5. So when we square that out, standard deviation is 1.58 kilograms. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, each of these hayop is 1.58 kilograms away from the mean. Ulitin ko, 1.58 kilogram ang layo lang ng isang hayop from the mean or from the mean, yes, from the center. And then ito naman sa farm B, mas malayo, tama? Ito 1 point something lang. Ito animal 1, animal 2, etc. So ang isang animal, ang layo niya or ang distansya niya from the mean is 23.72 kilograms. So yan yung standard deviation, yung mean, at saka variance. So what do we want again? Low or high variance? Again, depende sa objective. Next, we proceed now to covariance. Dito naman ay, instead of farms, ang kino-compare natin, we compare or we use two traits. No? So yung covariance from the term co, two. No? It measures how two traits vary together. Whether high values of one trait correspond to high or low values of another. Example, covariance between milk yield and body weight. Ibig sabihin yan is nagva-vary sila together, tama? Lahat ng mga traits may may certain amount of covariance. Although merong 0.00 something ang covariance. So, lahat ng traits or almost all traits have value for covariance. Ang covariance ay wala siyang magnitude. Although meron tayong nakakompute na value, pero ang tinitingnan natin ay yung sign. At tinitingnan natin ay whether positive or negative. So kung positive ang nakompute na covariance, ang ibig sabihin niyan, the traits increase together. So gamitin natin itong traits na milk yield at saka body weight. Kapag ang nakompute na covariance between milk yield and body weight ay positive, ibig sabihin, they go together. Oh, so they go together kasi it measures how traits vary together. When we say they go together, kapag tumaas ang milk yield, tataas din ang body weight. Or vice versa. Kapag mabigat yung hayop, mas marami din siyang milk yield. Yun ang positive. Pero ang opposite, negative, is kapag mabigat yung hayop, halimbawa, we assume this is negative, kapag mabigat yung hayop, konti ang milk yield ng hayop niyan. So yun yung covariance, positive at saka negative lang. We are not looking at the number. So ito yung formula niya, but we can do the computation using Excel. Okay, next. So before we use an example, let's compare it with correlation. Ang correlation naman ay may ginagamit na tayong number. May kinoconsider na tayong magnitude or value. So it's standardized, unitless measure. So ibig sabihin ng unitless is wala siyang unit. So hindi natin siya nilalagyan ng kilograms, centimeters, grams, meters, etc. So unitless siya. The measure of linear association between two traits. So sa covariance, we are also considering two traits ranging from -1 to +1. So yung sign na negative at saka positive, nanggaling siya sa covariance. So covariance at saka correlation, they are two related na parameters. So example, correlation between milk yield and body weight is positive 0.05. Sa covariance, positive lang ang minention natin kanina. Which is ang interpretation pag covariance is kapag mabigat ang hayop, mas madami din siyang milk yield. Pero ang sinasabi ng correlation is, ang interpretation ng correlation is, paano yung increase? No? Kasi they both increase, they both go together. Ano yung magnitude? Ano yung extent ng pag-vary nila together? Yun ang correlation. So, sa correlation, we also consider the sign, pero dinadagdagan natin ng number na ginagamit natin to interpret. So sign, so if ang symbol na ginagamit natin for correlation is lowercase r. Dito naman sa covariance, we use cov. So if the correlation value or correlation coefficient is greater than 0, ibig sabihin positive yun, tama? Greater than 0. Kapag tataas yung x, mag-increase din yung y. So x and y are the two traits na sinasabi ko. Pag naman lower than 0, that's negative, right? So, pag tataas yung x, bababa yung y. And meron din tayong value na 0. So kung walang correlation, there's no relationship, no linear relationship. Meaning to say they do not vary. They are not associated with one another. So hindi na natin siya itong formula natin, ito yung formula mathematically, but we will no longer apply this when you will be computing because, once again, we consider large data sets in animal grading. Okay, so speaking of magnitude or the strength of the relationship, ito yung values, range of values na ginagamit natin. And then, para masabi nating perfect, yung linear association or yung relationship between the two traits, the correlation coefficient should be 1. 0 naman kung walang relationship ang dalawang traits na yon. Kung walang relationship na ang traits na yon, they do not co-vary. They do not go together. Or ibig sabihin, yung increase in the magnitude or increase in the value of one trait does not affect the increase in the value of another. Or it's not related or associated. And then, we quantify kasi kinakategorize natin ang relationship, ang correlation or association between two traits. So, from no relationship to perfect relationship. So, meron tayong very weak, moderate, strong, and very strong. Pag very weak, ito yung range na makakompute natin, 0.01 to 0.19, and so on. So, we need to familiarize ourselves and learn these values or this table by heart. Kasi important to when we will be interpreting the correlation coefficients that we computed. Okay. Example, you are part of a research team conducting a small-scale performance evaluation of Ilocos native cattle raised under the same farm management conditions. The goal is to describe the population based on two economically important traits, which are birth weight and weaning weight. You collected data from 10 calves born during the same calving season. So ito yung na-collect natin na records. So C, or this first column, ito yung code natin for the offspring or the calf. So from C1 to C10, so these are the 10 calves that we collect, that we considered in the computation. So ito yung dalawang traits ng calves na yon, birth weight at saka weaning weight. So ang calf 1, ito yung birth weight niya 22, weaning weight niya 95, and so on. Now let's compute the following. So let's compute the mean, ano yung average performance ng population, variance also, standard deviation, covariance, and correlation. So suppose you have already performed, but I would like you to try muna. I want you to pause this video and then try solving by applying yung formula. Since konti lang naman yung number of calves na i-compute. So, suppose tapos na kayong mag-solve, let's answer, no? So, by applying the formula, plugging in the values doon sa formula, the mean, so since may dalawang traits, we have to compute two values of mean. Mean for birth weight. So, let BW stand for birth weight and WW is your weaning weight. So, the mean for birth weight is 23.10 and the weaning weight is 100.4. So when we interpret that now is the average birth weight of calves is 23.1 kilogram and the average weaning weight of the calves is 100.4 kilograms. Next, we proceed to variance. The variance, you can see actually the difference. Ang variance is 3.66 for birth weight. So the variance in birth weight is 3.66 kilograms square, suggesting a moderate spread of values or lower spread of values around the mean, with some calves being lighter and others heavier. Yun namang weaning weight, higher. The variance in weaning weight was 90.04 kilograms squared, indicating a wide range. Ibig sabihin, masyadong magkakalayo yung weaning weights among calves. Na pwedeng ang dahilan ay dahil sa genetics, or pwede ring environmental influences such as yung feeding mo, yung management mo, yung housing, how we take care of the animals. So we see smaller differences at birth, but we see higher differences at weaning. Next, standard deviation. Ito mas madaling interpret. Ito yung values na na-compute, 1.91 for birth weight and weaning weight is 9.49. So the standard deviation of 1.91 kilograms per birth weight means that most calves' birth weights fall within approximately positive or negative 1.91 kilogram of the mean. Okay? Itong values ng standard deviation, palagi siyang may plus or minus bago yung number. Kasi if you are to remember yung bell curve natin ay bakit plus or minus? Kasi plus, so yung 1.91 to the right of the mean or above the mean, and then yung negative naman to the left of the mean. So ibig sabihin, yung mga hayop na better than the mean, 1.91 kilograms away from the mean. Yung namang mga right to the left of the mean, yung mga less performing than the mean, sila ang weight nila ay, ang difference, 1.91 kilograms from the mean. Yon. So by just looking at the standard deviation, we can actually see the range, which is between 21 kilograms and 25 kilograms. Bakit 21 and 25? Kasi ang mean natin kanina ay 23 something, right? And then for weaning weight, the standard deviation is 9.49 or plus minus 9.41. Yan. So anong interpretation ulit? So most of the animals are 9.49 kilograms away from the mean. So yung away na yon could be better than the mean or lower than the mean. Next, covariance. So sa covariance, dahil dalawang traits ang kinoconsider natin when we compute covariance, uh, we only have one value. Kasi sa one value na yon, yung dalawang traits na ang nailagay sa formula. So, assuming you have computed already the covariance, and this is 17.84, look at the sign. Kung walang sign, di ba, that's positive. So the positive covariance now shows that calves with higher birth weights also tend to have higher winning weights. Ibig sabihin ng positive covariance ay kung mas mabigat daw siya at birth, mas mabigat din daw siya at winning. Yun interpretation ng covariance. So notice na hindi natin kinonsider yung 17.84 sa interpretation. We only consider the plus. Next, correlation naman, 0.98. So always remember yung table natin to interpret yung values ng correlation. So dito sa correlation, since positive siya, they go together. So kapag nag-increase yung isang trait, nag-increase din yung another trait. So we see here that the correlation coefficient is positive 0.98. And based on sa table natin, it indicates a very strong positive linear relationship between birth weight and winning weight. So ibig sabihin, calves born heavier tend to grow faster and remain heavier at winning. So ibig sabihin, great predictor ang isa't isa or ang body weight, great predictor siya ng winning weight. Great predictor ang body weight ng winning weight because they show a very strong positive relationship. You can say that calves which weigh heavier at birth will tend to have heavier weight at winning. Or pwede mo rin sabihin na yung mga babo o yung mga calves na mabigat noong winning ay mabigat din sila noong birth nila or nung ipinanganak sila. So I hope you see the difference or you appreciate now the importance of these parameters. We have mean, variance, standard deviation, covariance, at saka correlation. Although meron akong hindi nadagdag dito is yung regression, no? Correlation at saka regression usually go together, especially if there is a significant relationship, no? Pero until correlation lang muna tayo. So I hope, I will be flashing this and I hope you will answer on your own. I will not give the correct answer at this point. So let's have a quick knowledge check to assess your understanding. So this is question number 1. The mean birth weight of 10 calves is 25 kilograms. What does this value represent? Now you can pause the video and then you answer. Next, number 2, if the variance of body weight in a herd is high, what does it indicate? Number 3, the standard deviation of milk yield is 2.5 liters per day. What does this value tell us? Number 4, if the covariance between birth weight and winning weight is positive, what does it mean? And then number 5, the correlation between body length and body weight is 0.85. How should this be interpreted? So I hope you were able to answer yung 5 questions na yon for the knowledge check. So ito yung, this slide shows you a summary of the statistical measures of population values that we discussed. So yung mean, variance, at saka standard deviation, sila ay measures of variation or measures of central tendency. And then yung covariance naman, ang minimeasure nila ay yung relationship ng dalawang values. Ang difference once again ng covariance is it only shows the direction. Pag sinabing direction is do they increase together or positive ba ang direction or negative? So kung positive, they always go together. If negative, they go in opposite directions. And then in correlation, dinadagdag sa correlation yung strength. No? Like yung magnitude. para masabi mong siya ay weak, very weak, moderate, strong, very strong, and so on. Okay, so that ends my video for today, and I hope that you were able to learn something. I will discuss in another recording yung susunod, particularly the partitioning of variance. Thank you very much, everyone, and I hope you learned something.